house is built in 1929, and although it's an older house, I'm really excited we're able to make it energy efficient to help the climate, help the environment, and also save some money.
I'm here at the home of my daughter Natalie and her fiance Rob in Westchester County, New York. Let's call it a Victorian colonial. The house had no air conditioning system, and it had a fairly ancient radiator hot water system with a furnace and oil tank in the basement. So we had a clean slate in terms of thinking about how to put air conditioning and heat into the house. We of course wanted to do this in as an efficient a way without fossil fuel as we could. So we're in the unfinished attic at the house, and this is the Space Pack air handler. This is the refrigerant that's coming from the Bosch heat pump that's out in the side yard. And it's either supplying hot or cold refrigerant that's then put into an element inside the box. So these are the magical heat pumps. These are air sourced. They are air conditioners in the summer, and they run in reverse in the winter. They make heat and air conditioning at a much lower energy usage than a traditional air conditioning system. And of course, you don't need any oil or gas to run a furnace to produce heat in the wintertime. So one of the great advantages of this system and systems like it are the small tubes that are used to carry the air around the house, whether in a new house or an old house. They take up a lot less room. So this is the main trunk coming off the Space Pack air handler, and this is a takeoff. There's a flexible aluminum tube in here surrounded by the insulation, which is a great improvement from the traditional metal ducts. So the takeoffs coming off the main trunk come through the attic floor and into the ceiling right above my head. You can see one of them. Each room has a couple of them, and there's a sound attenuator at the end of the tube that limits the wind noise. Another nice advantage of the Space Pack air handler is that it runs on roughly 20 or 30% less electricity than a comparable unit that was made 5 or 10 years ago. We're in the proverbial scary basement looking at the oil-fired furnace and igniter that was used to make hot water to send out to the radiators to heat the house. That's coming out because we don't need it anymore. I kid you not, this is 100-year-old technology. This is a 300-gallon fuel tank that supplies the oil-fed furnace, or at least it used to. Fuel truck comes up and pumps the oil into your tank, into the supply here. Of course, that fuel that they're pumping, first there was an oil well that they got the crude out of. They sent that to a refinery through a pipeline somewhere across America. That refinery took that crude oil and broke it down into constituent parts, including gasoline, diesel fuel, etc. And then all that diesel exhaust with SOx, NOx, carbon monoxide, and all sorts of bad things have to then go out the chimney, up out of the top of your house. So this is the basement Space Pack air handler. The air comes through some big vents in the floor above through this tube into the side of the air handler, into this chamber, and then being pushed through this element, which has been supplied with either hot or cold refrigerant to either push hot or cold air up into the first floor. So the house will also have a solar system, roughly 11 kilowatts, with about 25 solar panels on the roof. We'll pull from the grid, obviously, when the sun isn't shining, but we get to put back in when we make more than we use. So we may not get all the way to net zero with the house, but we're coming close.